We started off with hundreds, then down to 20, down to 10, and finally down to 8.
Which one has been the most difficult task so far? Well, it's difficult to say because they get harder with time, but I would say the magazine one. Not because it was like a 10 out of 10 difficult, but because the feedback that we got as a team from the judges wasn't so great. So that made it one of the most difficult tasks or challenges.
So far, the breakfast live show for me was a really tough challenge because I had to navigate thinking, talking, and also listening at the same time. So I have to improve on that because I honestly did not like that challenge.
Good morning. Good morning. It's Friday, the 4th day.
Contestants, welcome to the top 8. Well done to the 8 of you. And this, for me, is one of my favorite tasks. In this episode, you're working individually. Each one of you must come up with a news story. You will have to produce a package on a story idea of your choice. You must appear in this package and tell a compelling story that Zambians have not been paying attention to. Contestants, this is a news package that you must produce. Is this clear? All the best.
Next to go, interesting in the sense that the task now is very unpredictable. It's not clear. It's starting to look clear in terms of who might make it to top 5, but it's also very unpredictable because now we're doing news packages and you don't know how. Jonah did say we need to pick up a story that Zambians have not paid attention to. So it makes it very, very unpredictable. So I don't know who's next to go. I really don't know.
Some of the most charismatic individuals are on this show, and we are looking for the next big TV star. This is the Diamond TV Presenter Search. There is a million things to consider when putting together a news package. Relevance probably tops it off. It is from relevance that full force of the media's impact is felt.
This is a starting point. Even what they are presenting here, those are fake things. They are not even there.
This week, the contestants are putting together 210 seconds of newsworthy content. What will perhaps be the most challenging part is picking a relevant topic. It's time to sharpen those research skills, boys and girls. Oh wait, we only have one boy left, so I'm guessing it's girls and boy and girls. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue that easy. Anyways, all the best. The contestants had a few days to put together the news packages from the research they undertook. Luendo kicks us off in this round of presentations. Last week, she had a very good review from the judges. Will she keep it up this week? Fingers crossed.
I did the best that I could, seeing that every source I had wasn't available, and I really pushed. I really did push, because what alternative would I have aside from like the police spokesperson? But he had a family issue and he insisted that he would not be able to help me. So I had to make do. I had to think quick.
Okay.
And make it happen.
Okay. Do you feel confident based on our training and some of the things we looked at and the things you researched on your own based on what you've done?
Yes, I do feel confident. It's just that the source part is what's like tearing me up inside.
So your package doesn't have sources?
It doesn't, but it has a motorist.
I see.
As a substitute, because I couldn't leave that part empty or fill it up with narration. Hit and run accidents. A lack of accountability that can have devastating consequences for their victims. Severity levels range from minor to critical, and as some drivers continue to flee from the scene, it remains a growing concern. A recent victim of a hit and run is Keisha Moyo. Inconvenienced by the abrupt accident, she is left traumatized and wary of impuned drivers.
So what happened was I was sitting in traffic and a car hit us behind. Instead of the vehicle stopping, they proceeded to overtake and try to run away. It is very traumatizing because you have a fear of driving at night because you think every time you leave the house you're going to be hit by a vehicle. And I think that all drivers, even a minor scratch, should just stop and speak to the owner of the vehicle to find some sort of common ground. These are easily fixable issues. You shouldn't run away from your responsibilities.
Driving schools strongly emphasize that fleeing the scene of an accident is a serious offense. Despite this, we're still left with the question why.
I wouldn't know actually. Perhaps they're scared. Perhaps it's one of those things where something has happened. It's human instinct. You just have to get away. But obviously that's just a few. Most obviously have to stop. Yeah. But I think it's basically they're just scared to be arrested, Yeah.
Jonah struggling to hear Luendo in her package, but also the judges failing to see the why and what of the piece.
I went to listen to this twice because your whole story has no statistics. It has no figure whatsoever. Because when you're establishing your what and the why, why are we telling this story? To raise awareness that people, this happens. So what numbers are we talking about in terms of hit and run cases? You go online, you can try, whether you're going to use Google or artificial, something or articles. Even when you're not sure, you can say, according to this reporter's research, numbers show that they are in the hundreds or they're in the thousands, though these figures cannot be verified at this moment, but they should be figures. And there should be a why we should get concerned. I was hoping to see a connection as to the reason why people run away. Is it because they are unlicensed drivers? Is it because their cars are not comprehensively insured? So, like Jonah says, rather than looking at a motorist, you had an opportunity to talk to, because you brought in the component of driving schools. Potential source, which could have panned your story into... So again, you could have said, among the reasons, based on my research, are that some do not have comprehensive insurance, some drive without a valid license, or things like that. So again, rather than waiting for the police, there's Motorist Association. In Zambia, it's there. There's RTSA, I think.
I did try that. They required like a formal letter that would take like 2 days to authorize.
RATSA?
Same as well.
Yeah, but you could have done your research, because this lacks statistics, and that's what makes the whole story shallow, because then I'm left wondering, what are you talking about? Why are we watching it? It's just a piece on a lady who had their car bashed and somebody ran away. So what?
I understand.
Next up, we see packages from Tandos and Chitty. The judges give their feedback after.
Your task was producing a 2.5-minute news package. Tell us more about your package.
So my package is basically talking about the rise in HIV cases amongst university students. One of the instructions that was given to us was to say, talk about things that Zambians are not paying attention to right now. And I feel like it's a very pressing issue that people are not paying much attention to right now, and it needs to be addressed either way. So I thought of touching on that.
So you did go through the orientation or the training.
Yes, I did.
Will we see all the elements of what a news package is in this?
Most of them.
What is missing?
I'm not sure, but I tried my best to impart all the knowledge that I acquired from the training into my video. Of course, we had some challenges here and there, being that it was a holiday, we couldn't max our sources, but I tried my best to put it together.
Let's watch.
In Zambia's universities, a concerning trend is emerging: a rise in HIV rates among students. According to recent studies, the prevalence rate among university students is estimated to be around 6.5%, significantly higher than the national average of 4.7%. We spoke to students and experts to understand the issue and explore solutions.
Yeah, HIV/AIDS is something that students have really taken very lightly, especially considering the fact that when they come into campus, they have a lot of freedom. So, there's a lot of promiscuity, and a lot of them have multiple sexual partners and the like. Most of them don't even use protection. If you go to the clinic, you find there's plenty of, condoms that are not even being used, but a lot of people are sleeping around. So I think it's something that students really need to take seriously in order to be able to prevent further spread of HIV/AIDS.
A study by the University of Zambia found that 1 in 5 students reported having multiple sexual partners in the past year, increasing their risk of HIV infection. Additionally, only 40% of students reported using condoms consistently.
With over 23,000 new cases of HIV recorded last year, we had a third of them being young people in universities.
The rise in HIV cases amongst university students demands action. Therefore, I urge universities and policymakers to prioritize HIV prevention and education. If you're a student in need of support, reach out to your university's healthcare service or your HIV support organizations. Let's work together to combat the rising numbers of HIV. My name is Tandos Musukwa, reporting for Diamond TV.
Tandos, it was a report or a news item, not until it became an advocacy piece at the end. What was that? Why are you putting yourself in the story? Were the instructions that you should be the advocate? No. Why are you saying, I urge, I appeal?
I didn't know that it would be implying that I'm advocating. I thought it would be okay to just...
You're reporting an issue. You're not part of the story. Why are you putting yourself in the story? It was a news item, not until you spoiled it at the end by putting yourself in the story. You're not part of the story. You're the journalist or the reporter reporting something. You can't, as a reporter, begin to urge, plea. That's not your job. You're not civil society, you're not an NGO, you are reporting. Secondly, I've seen that you've brought in the aspect of statistics. You're mentioning 40%, 6.5% and this, but you randomly mention, according to studies, especially the first 6.5%, which report or authority are you quoting? The 6.5%.
So it was just information that I had Googled.
Yeah, so you can't quote in abstract. I mean, there must be an authority, there must be something, a report or somebody you're attributing to. At some point you talk about a study done by the university. What study is it? Is it in a report, a recent study? Is it? Of course there's a doctor to back that up. That was good. But even when we're captioning the doctor, is that doctor from the university? Is she a counselor?
From UTH.
So you see, so again, I felt that it's a good thing. Yes, you're trying to have authority, but how do we know in this era of fake news and fact check? Who are you attributing to? Your so at the end of the day, it becomes that your sources are just opinionating, because if it's not backed by evidential based facts, you need to try and get there. Fair attempt though, but you spoiled it for me towards the end. You just spoiled it.
Chitty.
Yes.
You're tired because you've been awake for almost 24 hours, is it?
Not really. I was more fortunate amongst Lillian and Luendo. We left around almost midnight.
I see.
Yes.
Okay, so you did get a bit of rest in.
Yes.
But I bet you would want some more rest.
Yes.
What story did you work on?
The story I worked on is the new supplementary budget that has to do with the 33.6 billion that was allocated in July by the Ministry of Finance. So that's the story that I looked at.
What exactly about this supplementary budget are we?
Okay, so basically I was asking the question, what kind of impact does it have on Zambians, and what does it mean?
I see.
A new 33.6 billion supplementary budget has been tabled before Parliament, money that government says is urgently needed to dismantle fuel arrears, service domestic and external debt, and meet critical spending needs like agriculture, education, and social services. For ordinary Zambians, this announcement comes as living costs remain high. Some members of Parliament are worried whether more spending would translate into better services or more debt.
You see, it is very true when people get concerned about increasing debt burden. And now, what is most worrying is that the government is going with the approach of borrowing locally.
Policy analyst Zondwayo Duma has the following to say.
The supplementary budget does pose a risk to worsening Zambia's debt burden for various reasons. Firstly, 13% interest is quite high, and it could be detrimental in that regard to some of our national aspirations around debt sustainability.
With an economy recovering from past shocks, Zambians will be watching closely whether this 33.6 billion kwacha will improve the lives of Zambians or increase the debt load. Chitty reporting for Diamond TV News.
Chitty, of all subjects, that was the easiest you could find?
No.
I think you decided to make your work quite difficult because economic and business stories are not really the easiest of stories to really pursue. When you mention figures, the idea really with a business story is how do you give it a human face, or how do you really break it down simply for a viewer to really conceptualize and understand. Like you told us before, you said the reason why you were doing this story is to explain the impact on the ordinary. The story we've seen doesn't explain the impact.
Yeah, well, my observations are pretty similar, but I also have to say we've had this task on a number of seasons of DPS, but I think that the execution this year has slightly been better than what we've seen in previous years. I don't know why, but it's very close to a news package. One of the things that needed to be worked on, and I said this in the training, sometimes we get obsessed about the technical side of things, you know, getting a nice picture and nice audio and a piece to camera and whatnot. We neglect the content of the story and shaping it to be a bit more clear. I also agree, I think the Member of Parliament is a representative of the people. So if we could not, which we probably should have tried harder, but if we could not get the public to speak on it, he was the closest thing to the public that we could have gotten. If you listen to him also, he sounds very close to the expert. So he's not an expert in economics, so he should have represented the people a bit more.
Feedback from the judges aims to interrogate the thought process of the contestants. Up next, Annie takes us through her package.
So I think I quite enjoyed this task because...
The what?
This task.
Okay.
Because we had to go out...
You've given me 2 minutes, 38 seconds.
8 seconds over it.
Yeah. It's a lot of time.
It is. I have an explanation as to why. So because of the type of story that I picked, the people that I was interviewing, if I had cut any more, it was not going to make sense. Even if it's 8 seconds, it's a lot. The story is quite complex. It's on child marriage. So I had a victim, and I also had a representative from an organization that helps save these children. So the representative speaks quite slow. I had to work with him as well.
You know, Tumu will tell you that no matter how short a clip is, I will always find something to cut out.
No, once I gain more experience, I would know how to completely cut it out. But my story is on early child marriage and how it's still prevalent in today's society. We had a few bumps because guests cancelled, it was a holiday, but I think I managed to put something together, so I hope you like it.
You say that you enjoyed it the most, this task. Why?
Because it gave me a feel of what real journalism is like. Because I remember when you gave us the task, you said you have to look for a story that's not really being told on the media, that's not really been coming up. And so I actually did get out into the field to look for my victim, who I have to protect, obviously. But I enjoyed the thrill of having to look for a story and then it was stressful, I can't lie, I almost cried. But it gave me a feel of exactly what it is to be a journalist and to just know how to speak to people, know how to make people trust you so they can tell you things, all of that. So the experience overall, it was okay. I hope my product is good enough because there's some inconsistencies, but...
Well, let's see.
A 14-year-old girl was rescued from marriage by her mother, who fled with her and sought refuge in the home of a family member. This is just one of many cases of early child marriage that seem to still be prevalent in some communities in Lusaka, such as Minwood Ndeke, Chongwe District, and Chainda. To address this matter is a member of the board of directors of Umi Foundation, which is an organization that rescues these young girls from early child marriage, Pastor Pius Chisha.
A lot of communities do not even know, that a child marriage is a criminal offense.
Despite all efforts to alleviate this problem, Lusaka is still experiencing a fairly high number of these cases, which leaves members of the community still wondering whether or not penalties are strictly being imposed on the perpetrators. Natasha Nondo, a legal practitioner from Zapato & Co. Advocates, gave us insight on the standing of the law.
Zambia has taken a firm legal stance against child marriages. Section 33 of the Marriage Amendment Act of 2023, which is reinforced by Section 18 of the Children's Code Act. Together, these provisions establish a comprehensive legal framework prohibiting child marriages in all its forms.
My father sold me into marriage when I was 13 years old. I am afraid to say my name because I don't want to be found by my husband or my father. It is clear that despite the efforts of various stakeholders, there is still much to be done. The injustice of early child marriage still prevails in this capital city of Lusaka. Behind every statistic is a stolen childhood and a future cut short. Annie Makeleni, here in Lusaka, Diamond TV.
Anne, I believe that during the orientation, storytelling and sequencing was one of the things that were addressed.
Yes.
Yeah. So you had potentially a very good piece of package to come up with, especially that you had a willing victim to use as a case study. But you destroyed it to put the case study of the victim right at the end and give them so little space. You only have 2.5 minutes. The trick is to use what we call the inverted pyramid structure. The most important details have to come first. That's how you buy into a viewer or a listener. Just with the child, the victim, I would have moved the pastor out. I don't think he's very necessary. I would have moved the pastor out and probably brought in the lawyer right at the end but just then the lawyer should not just talk about the sections of the law, but probably what is the law doing to curb this. And there's lots of statistics out there in terms of child marriages and what is being done to rescue. So for me, the story was in the case study, because you were so lucky to have a case study. But you waste the story in itself, because that should have, you start a 14-year-old girl and you use stock footage, yet you have the case study. So we wanted to see you profile or do this story through the lens of a victim.
She particularly had a challenge with cutting down her package to 2 minutes 30 seconds. After the break, we have a look at the remaining presentations. The one thing more challenging than putting together a relevant and compelling news package is coming up with a signature sign-out. You may recognize a few of them. Levi shouldn't worry too much about his sign-out. What he should be worried about is whether or not his package is worthy of airtime.
Our assignment was to cover news stories that haven't been broadcasted by the news or are overlooked. So I chose the entertainment part because I looked at the Zambian news element. We don't talk about the entertainment industry despite it contributing to the economy. Then I looked at other news stations around the world. Then I noticed that part. And then I started looking at the good parts of the entertainment industry when it comes to the country. I remember you saying the media industry contributes to employment. That was one of the key roles that came up. Tourism, and also how it promotes culture. So I figured to do a story about Zambian culture, the impact it has on society today. Because the music culture in Zambia has evolved from Kalunda to Z-Rock. It's now on a global map. Everyone knows Zambian music. And it's now an expression of art. So I figured to say it's overlooked and I should cover it.
So what's the story about? It's about... what is it about again? It's music? So what's the story about?
The impact of music on Zambian culture.
I see. Okay.
Music is a universal language which invokes strong emotions, enhances moods, improves focus and memory.
Powerful tool that helps people to communicate, interact, unite, and also express emotions. Definitely, I would support them, and I'll just give them a practical example, like the spoons that they are eating with at home. We bought them through music. I listen to, if I just want to revamp my spirit, it really helps me. Even just with the daily expenses, music provides for me, it helps me.
A powerful tool for culture preservation, social commentary, community bonding, and advice for transmitting cultural heritage, addressing social issues, and fostering national unity.
For me, it's an interest. Like, to be honest, you just can't run away from who you are. So I started in 2020 at a professional level. Actually, I started making music at XYZ.
Music marks a significant contribution to Zambia's economy, bringing in billions of kwacha in different industries and, of course, promoting Zambian culture. I am Levi James Kasambla reporting for Diamond TV News in Lusaka, Zambia.
Levi.
Yes.
You told us the story is on what?
The impact of music on Zambian society.
First you said on Zambia's cultural heritage.
What happened was that I had an expert who was supposed to...
Again, if we watch a piece and we can't tell what it's about, where do you get the opportunity to start explaining to a viewer? Oh, what you just saw, what I meant to tell you was this. It doesn't. I'm even shocked that you exceeded the 2.5 minutes. You said you had a lot of stuff that you failed to cut out. Both your sources, they were saying nothing. He's talking about spoons. I don't know whether that was an excerpt for a magazine show. You're doing the Q&A of putting the question there and the answers. The second one, you're profiling him. Like, for example, why ask the question, so when did you start, and do you feel appreciated as a producer? That's not even news. That's not news. An example was given, try to come up with a package of stories that are untold. That's not even a story. That's not a story. Basic journalism 101, if a dog bites a man, it's usual. But when a man bites a dog, it's, oh wow. That's you just going into a studio of a friend or something and try to profile who they are. I can't get any news there. I can't get a what, the why. And you're all over, political, social, justice, what. Even the footage and the pictures you were using are incoherent. Like, where's the political songs? Where's the examples of people who do songs for social justice? You've got your Pilatos, you've got in history, all these things. I fail to find the story, really. There's no story here. There's no story. I don't know if you see it.
It's very difficult, Levi, even if I tried to unpack so that we could repackage it, but I don't know where. I think, and that's the reason why I kept asking, what's the story? Once again, I think you overthought the whole thing and just, it's all over the place. When you were bringing Mouse Came Along, whose name is misspelled, you say something about music being used for social justice. Then he just comes and talks about his career. Your build-up was that music is used for social justice. And then Mouse Came Along is just talking about how he started with XYZ. And then
he's talking about credits.
Yeah.
Costa not impressed with Levi's story choice. Better luck to our remaining contestants, Edna and Chimuna, coming up next.
So I was covering a story concerning the progress over the Lusaka Ndola road upgrade.
The dual carriageway?
Yes.
Okay. And what exactly is the angle in that story?
So it's the progress and the impact that it has on everyday people that use that road.
Okay. And everything that was in the training we will see here?
I guess so, because I tried my best to follow what we got from Jonah during our training.
Okay, let's watch.
Launched with much fanfare in May 2024, Zambia's biggest road project has been steadily making progress. The Lusaka Ndola dual carriageway promises transformation. But as works continue, some motorists are adjusting to dust, diversions and slower travel along this busy route, a vital link for many and the country's economy. For some motorists, every day is a struggle. Simon Sakala, a taxi driver and resident of Ngwerere, frequently makes trips to the car wash, all because of dust.
We only use this route when heading to the Copper Belt. The challenge we face is traffic, especially on weekends. On Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays, it gets too congested. We really need help with the roads.
The Road Development Agency says progress is on track with some sections completed and others are actively under construction. Yobe Mwaluba is the Director of Planning and Design at the agency.
In terms of the progress, the section, the 45-kilometer section between Masangano, Fisenga and Luansha was completed in January 2025 and is currently under operations and maintenance. With the other sections, so far the concessionaire has done over 130 kilometers, that is to surfaced or blacktop, and they are currently now reaping and rehabilitating portions of the old road.
Moyo John, a civil engineer specializing in highway and transportation, believes the project will bring lasting benefits.
While delays due to funding
and land disputes have occurred, significant sections are now complete. The Lusaka-Ndola dual carriageway is more than just a road. It's a path to prosperity.
Progress is coming. For now, it's diversions, patience, and hope for smooth days. Edna Mwimbi reporting for Diamond TV.
So Edna, at some point, I felt like I was understanding the story, and then I didn't understand it anymore. Initially, I thought, I don't agree with the angle, but I thought that you were talking about the inconvenience that the construction of the road has come with. So I was waiting to see the inconvenience. Why? Because highlighting the people's inconveniences could prompt a quicker completion of the road and whatnot. Whatever angle you try to spin. Then you had a case study, some sort of a case study, a guy who is a taxi driver. But when he came on, he was talking about traffic, which was not well explained, which was contrary to what you were building up to in your story. And then, I don't know, from that point it just became...
You're talking about him going to the car wash. So equally I have a question. What's the story about? Because you told us it's the impact of this road on day-to-day lives in the future, the benefits it will bring. Or maybe I missed it. It's the disruptions caused by the roadworks?
So the story was trying to understand why commuters, especially bus drivers, have continued to go against the safety guidelines in line with ERB's Petroleum of Quality Service Standards that speak of not having to refuel buses with passengers still on the bus.
Let's watch.
In Zambia's bustling bus stations, safety seems to be taking a backseat. Despite a clear directive from the Energy Regulation Board, many public bus drivers continue to refuel their vehicles with passengers still on board, a direct violation of the safety code. We spoke to a concerned commuter who shared his thoughts on the issue.
On that one, I think so far what is going on, I would say there is need for more sensitization, and if you follow it very well, that is by law, that people, especially in public vehicles, that is the mean buses, people have to disembark when refueling. That is definitely the advantage to their advantage for safety reasons.
This practice, though common, is extremely dangerous. Fuel stations are high-risk areas for fires and explosions. Richard Mulenga, a fuel attendant, has more to say.
Sometimes you may find people, they don't even listen, we give them direction where they're supposed to park, they don't follow that. So as a result, once we report to one of our supervisors, they tell us they should follow the safety and the protocol for their company, but they don't.
The regulations are in place. What remains unclear is whether the message has been effectively delivered. We spoke to Boniface Zulu, an energy expert, to get insights.
In fact, there's less sensitization on this particular law because not even filling stations get to put up posters. They need to put up posters to ensure that people get to even abide to the regulation itself. And drivers also, through their committees, need to engage themselves and also ensure that they sensitize their fellow drivers on what to do and what not to do.
The regulations are in place. What remains unclear is whether the message has been delivered effectively. We can only hope commuters prioritize their safety by adhering to this law. Chimuna, reporting for Diamond TV.
I just find it striking what was amusing because you were smiling so much in your piece to camera. It's a bit awkward. Not terrible, Chimuna, but I still just feel the story was missing a bit of context, right?
The person you spoke to at the first, like at the start, that commuter, you said he's a commuter. Is he a bus driver? What is he? Is he, because we're talking about these
He's a motorist.
Buses. He's just someone unrelated to this story.
Jonah feels some context lacked in Chimuna's story. Has she missed the mark altogether? Lillian closes off this round with her story, which focuses on underground water contamination. Let's see how she fared.
I just chose this story because there was sort of a challenge when Jonah said we need to bring out stories that are not usually talked about. And I thought, aside from it being a news story, it can also be a form of sensitization.
Okay. Let's watch.
Zambians have over the years faced the challenge of access to clean and safe water. This has led to many households turning to boreholes as a safer alternative to contaminated surface water. But beneath the surface lies a silent threat. Neglected maintenance of boreholes is turning these very sources into breeding grounds for disease. Michael Sichinga, a resident of Lusaka, says many Zambians are ignorant about underground water contamination and the importance of water tank purification.
You people that are into the bore sector should at least be going around in the communities, educating them the importance of cleaning bores.
Francis Chumia is a water technologist and has called on all those with boreholes to conduct water tank maintenance and testing at least twice a year.
So the water, when it's of high turbidity, when you directly pump it into the tank, it will normally leave the dirt in it. So what you need to do is that you need to make sure that you flush it out, not until the water is clear. Or the storage tank, you need to clean it at least twice in a year. If you can't afford to clean it twice in a year, you need to clean it at least once in a year.
For civil society organizations, there is need for government, through the Water Resources Management Authority, WOMA, to intensify sensitization. Freeman Mubanga is Center for Environment Justice, Head of Research and Studies.
We as individuals are obstructing waters through boreholes. Some people don't even know how to maintain their water qualities with a borehole. People don't use filters. There could be a sand filter. Different suppliers offer those systems, but people don't use those. Why? It could be a lack of sensitization. Sometimes it's just awareness issues. But what we're saying is we need government as well to take charge of ensuring that most of these communities that are obstructing water at the rate at which we are doing can be sensitized at the point of getting your license so that you can obstruct water.
Boreholes may be the solution, but definitely not a final one, as without testing and maintenance, they can lead to the next outbreak, such as cholera. For Diamond TV News, I'm Lillian.
Actually, an interesting story for me was a borehole. And I'm just left wondering because I don't think it has ever
been cleaned.
Yeah. So I wonder what is inside there. I think that such a story would interest a lot of people, especially in Lusaka, where if you just look at this video, you can see how many boreholes, I mean, how many water tanks you've got there. But I think that there was also a need for a proper case study. I don't know what that person was doing in that piece, the one who was standing outside Diamond TV.
Michael Sichinga.
Yes. I really don't get what his role in all of this was, because all he did was tell the media that they needed to sensitize the public on all of this.
We have wrapped up our presentations and pretty soon we get into elimination. So far, we have tested the contestants on so many fronts. All this in an effort to come up with that one diamond that Costa is looking for. Now we're in the end game, trying to figure out who will make it towards the end.
So in the elimination room, who do I think is going home? To be very honest, trust me, I don't have anyone in mind.
Contestants, What an exciting week. News package. As a journalist, this is food that I love to chew on. Many of you have shared your experience that you had to literally go to bed in the wee hours of this morning, or literally at 7 this morning. I will not sympathize with you. I can only tell you that it's part of the craft and it's part of the business, because it's all about deadlines. It's all about making sure that you put the paper to bed, as we would call it. Chitty. There is, again, you took a very suicidal path. Again, business stories are not the easiest, but my advice, start building confidence in yourself. When you have the confidence, Chitty, there's no need to be nervous. You literally bring your nervousness into the room. You start making us nervous. Be confident about what you're presenting. Be confident about your ideas. They're not so bad after all. So, after analyzing what went on this week, the piece that we believe was not the best, but at least gave us the semblance of something that we were looking for in terms of a news package, was Lillian's piece and the Boho story. That means, Lillian, you're safe from elimination this week. I hope that puts a bit of sugar into your bloodstream. Unfortunately, there were some pieces that really did not even meet the average or required standard, because we needed to just, first of all, see that what was being mentored on or what was being oriented on was being followed. But I believe the whole idea is to see that there is a story.
If I was given another chance to do the same project, this time I would 100% go for a much more point of view where anyone can understand the package, make it a bit less and focus on the message. And maybe I would focus on a different issue.
Levi, you're going home this week.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You left us confused. When you explained, you left us even more confused. I think in the feedback session, I did give you what my personal feedback or advice is to you. I think you're a remarkable human being. Your temperament, you're cool, you're calm, but avoid so much clutter in terms of the ideas. You seem to put in too much. Simple. We call it KISS. Keep it short, simple. Just clarity. It doesn't show that you're the best in the room or you're intelligent because you over-complexify things, if such a word exists. Communication is about clarity and simple clarity. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you so very much. I look forward to seeing you in the near future.
As you head back to Chileland.
Yes, Chile board, and I hope Jonah comes soon.
You really insist. That's an invite.
How do I feel right now? This has been a learning experience. I feel almost happy because this was my first audition. I made it to top 8. I learned so many things which I will apply now. And also, I came to the capital city. So despite me going home, as bittersweet as it sounds, it's a learning opportunity for me. And plus, I believe what's meant for me is meant for me. And if it's not meant for me, it's meant for someone else. So I'm looking forward to the near future. Who knows? I might come back next year, I might not come back, but what I'm going to do next, no one's going to expect.
The last male in the competition is out, and now we're left with catfights for the rest of the season.
Only one person is being eliminated.
Hey, phew!
Your next task is probably something you've never thought you would have to present. Well, contestants, let's get sporty. You will all have to create one sports show. And, keyword, mind-blowing, and something we've never seen before. So go out there, be creative, and give us the best 24-minute sports show we've ever watched.
And this is one group.
Every facet cut to gleam. In your eyes I am the dream. From the rough to the shine. come and find this gem divine. Can't be wrong, I take my place. Feel the power and the grace. Now here I come. I am diamond. Yay! Yay! I'm a diamond. I'm a diamond. You are looking for, so watch me come. I'm a diamond. I'm a diamond. You are looking for, I'm in my prime. Every heartbeat sings